Hi guys, I'm here today to talk to you about September 11th, 2001, which was the day of the 9/11 attacks. It has now been 15 years since the attacks, and I have to I don't have to, but I've been wanting to share my side of the story of what I remember from that day because as some of you may know, I am from New Jersey. I live about 25 minutes away from New York City, which is where the attacks happened, the 9/11, the Twin Towers, that whole thing. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you about what I remember from that day 15 years ago. I remember that day very vividly due to the fact that, again, I live very close to New York City. I had a lot of classmates that had parents that worked in the city, things like that, relatives, things along those lines. There's people that are, in and out of the city all day for work, for school, for things like that. So when this happened, I was 11 years old. I had just turned 11 years old. I was in 6th grade, and we did not know what was going on that day. All I know is I was having times in the class where people were getting called out of class. They said, I don't know how other schools worked, but my elementary school, they were able to page classrooms, and it was just over this loudspeaker in this specific classroom, not so much around the hallways. It's not like they were like, Lauren, blah, 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 please come to the office. Your mom is here to pick you up. It was more like they would page in the room and they'd be like, is Lauren in there? And they said yes, her mom is here to pick her up. And that would happen if a parent had to come to get you for any kind of situation with it, whether it was an emergency or they needed to get you because you had a doctor's appointment or anything along those lines. If you had to leave early and they needed to let you know that your parent was there, they paged you and then the teacher escorted you. Actually, no, the teacher didn't escort you, but you packed up and you got to the front office and your parents took you home. So I think we all, and by we all, I mean the people in my class, we started noticing something was going on with the fact that during the day, our classroom sizes just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. This happened, I believe, before 11 a.m. I could be wrong. If I get any times confused, I will leave them in the description or I'll leave them somewhere. But I remember my classroom size just kept getting smaller and smaller, and I went to a school that didn't have a lot of kids, but I was in a lot of modified classes because of my learning differences, so I had a lot of smaller classes to begin with, so a lot of the time it was turning into a 5-person class or a 7-person class along those lines, which it was just getting weirder and weirder. And a couple of people in my class, like my friend Anne, they were like, oh, Anne, your mom is here to get you. So we're just kind of why is everybody leaving all day? Why is everybody leaving? Why is everybody leaving? We didn't know. We asked the teachers. The teachers didn't say anything to us. I'm sure that the teachers knew something about this, but obviously didn't want to tell us. We were a bunch of 11-year-olds. Why would they say anything to us? So as the day progressed, when it was time to go home from school, I get into my mom's car and I just said to her, what's going on? Anne, and I just listed a bunch of people, got called out of class today and everybody was taking their kids home. What happened? And she briefly explained to me that a bunch of bad men, took control of the planes and stuff, and there's been accidents. And what she did tell me, please don't turn on your TV unless you're gonna watch Nickelodeon. And the reason she did that, and I knew at a later time, is because on almost every single channel there was coverage of the attacks. It was on MTV, it was on all the regular channels, and at the time we didn't have any DirecTV, we didn't have Fios, anything like that, so we just had regular standard cable. So there was only, so many channels to watch. So my mom said, if you're gonna watch TV, only watch Nickelodeon. That's all. But she did explain to me what was going on. I don't remember exactly what she said, just because I think I was just so in shock of what was going on, because I knew I had a girl that I was friends with. Her mom worked in the trade center, so I knew I was kind of nervous about that. I remember being, is she okay, blah, blah, blah. Apparently she called out of work that day anyway, which, you know, I can't even imagine. But it was just such a difficult situation, and I was not watching TV, I was not doing anything, I was just nervous because I didn't know what was going on. And it's just like, it was like the first and only big thing that's happened in my 26 years of being on this planet, like especially to have it so close to home. I mean, everybody in America was affected, even people who weren't necessarily from America. There was still an attack, and it was an attack on New York City, Pennsylvania, the Pentagon, things like that. It was just like this big sad thing that happened to America, and I just can't believe, like, it's such a vivid memory that I have, and I feel like it just happened the other day. For it to be for it to be 15 years now that this happened. There's always all these little candlelight ceremonies in the town surrounding me, because a lot of people I know, not know personally, I know a bunch of people who have lost somebody from 9/11, who have lost a parent to 9/11, who had lost friends and things like that. It's just, it's mind-blowing that this happened 15 years ago. I can't believe, like, you know, my 11-year-old self, I remember it, and then my 26-year-old self, I remember a lot of this happening, and it's just mind-blowing. But that's my 9/11 experience story. I'm grateful that I had nothing happen to me firsthand, or anybody I know personally, but I've met people over the years who have had a tragedy with their parent, their loved ones, you know, sisters, brothers, that kind of thing. And I mean, it's always a sad thing to know that that's how somebody died, you know. It's a sad thing. But I just wanted to share my side of what I remember from 15 years ago. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you guys soon.